Chapter 58. Your problem is also my problem. I would solve them for you if I could. Christine smiled gently, looking as delicate as a small flower. Everyone who saw her would try to protect her. Charlie held Christine and showed a gentle smile. Since you are here now, you should stay here. After we have settled this issue, we will go back to the Midwest together. Okay, I'll listen to you. Christine nodded obediently. Charlie said, let me walk you back to your room. Christine shook her head and said, don't you have something else to do? You don't have to worry about me. You can handle your business first. I can go back to the room by myself. As soon as Christine was done speaking, Charlie hugged her and kissed her hard. He said softly, Christine, you are always so thoughtful. How can I not love you? Christine smiled subtly and patted Charlie's chest with her tender little hands. I'm your fiancé. I should take care of you and help you solve your problems. As long as you don't think I'm being a burden, then it's fine. Charlie hugged her tightly and kissed her again. I'll ask someone to walk you upstairs to rest. You are not feeling well. Don't tire yourself too much. Christine looked at him affectionately. I want to watch you leave. Then I'll leave first. You should rest early. Charlie reminded her again before he left with his men. As Charlie's figure was getting more and further away, Christine's smile gradually faded away. She clenched her fists and muttered, Charlie, I've stayed by your side for 3 years. I had a miscarriage with your baby, but you still haven't gotten over her. What should I do with you? In Chatterton Town, in a luxurious restaurant. Mia glanced at the menu casually. The price of these dishes was very expensive. Great, she thought. Then she waved at a waiter to order. She ordered the most expensive dish and a dozen other different dishes. Jackie, who was sitting beside her, wanted to say something, but he held his thoughts and didn't speak up. Mia knew what he wanted to say. It might be like, Polaris, how could you finish so many dishes all by yourself? Stop wasting money. Maybe next time young master will agree to produce a show especially for you. Mia knew these people around her very well. They were sent by Leo to keep an eye on her. They were never her people from the beginning. It was not a big deal that the old-fashioned brother controlled and restricted her when she was at home. But she didn't expect that these people around her were in favor of her conservative brother. They limit her from doing all the things she wants to do. There was no freedom for her at all. Besides, she didn't want to use Leo's money at that moment. She was still angry with him. That day, Leo threw her into the swimming pool so mercilessly, and she was almost drowned. Humph. If he continues to make things difficult for her, she will play all kinds of tricks on him and let him remember the lesson forever that he'll never dare to cross her line again. She decided to resist and to take revenge, so she spread the rumors about Leo being a pervert purposely. She wanted girls to stay away from him, and he'd have no one to marry him. Then, he would know how valuable she was to him. However, Mia did not expect that the rumor would attract Charlie, the young master of the Gook family. The only impression she had about Charlie was that there was a despicable screenwriter working under his company, who always stole others' ideas and stories. When his behavior was discovered, he still dared to say that he was just showing respect to the classic. Mia had seen all kinds of people, but she had never seen such a shameless person before. What's worst was that the entertainment company owned by the Gook family did not punish this person. Instead, they gave him their full support. Mia decided to take advantage of this opportunity wisely to teach him a good lesson. Then the person who wanted to meet her arrived and was walking towards her. Seeing Charlie, who was dressed like a gentleman, Mia almost couldn't conceal her disdain. Although she hated Charlie, she couldn't show it on her face. She smiled and waved her hand. Hi, Mr. Charlie. Charlie looked at Mia and frowned subtly. Mia knew that he didn't like her face. She deliberately overdid her makeup that day, trying to make herself look ridiculous. If she didn't pretend to be ugly, she was worried that this unruly young master of the Gook family would fall in love with her. Are you Polaris? Charlie looked at Mia from head to toe. He didn't believe that Leo Kyle would have an interest in such a weird girl. The thick makeup made this girl look like a clown. Mia grinned and said, Yes, I am. Now do you want to take a photo with a superstar like me? Charlie felt disgusted in his heart. He was not interested in such a superstar. Charlie expressed his intention of meeting her directly. Polaris, I think my secretary had already told you why I want to meet you. Mia's makeup was too dramatic. She looked like a ghost in some horror movies. Charlie was trying his best not to turn around and leave after seeing her like this. Mia blinked and said, Take a seat and eat. I've already ordered the dishes. We better eat first before we talk. But Charlie said, Or you could tell me the information that I need, then you could take your time to enjoy the meal. I'll pay for the bill. You will pay? Mia leaned towards him and asked, Even if I overindulged in my meal, it won't even be worth that much money. Is that the best you can do to get the information from me? Just tell me what you want, said Charlie while inching back from her slowly. He couldn't bear her makeup at all. Mia raised her hands and showed her index finger, indicating the number 1. Give me this, and you can get any information you want from me. 100,000? $100,000? Do you think I am a beggar? Mia shook her finger in front of Charlie. I want $1,000. You are crazy. It was Lincoln, who was standing behind Charlie, that spoke up. Mr. Charlie, who's the boss? Are you the boss or the one behind you? Mia was good at provoking. Kevin might be the only person she was afraid of. If he could work with Rovio Incorporation Inc., this sum of money was nothing to Charlie. The main issue was to see if this woman could provide any useful information to Charlie. Chapter 59. Charlie stared at Mia for a long time. A young girl like her must not dare to play tricks. I can give you $1,000, but if you dare to play any tricks... Then he stopped. He believed she would understand what he meant. Charlie waved to his assistant and took out the checkbook to write. Now you can say it. Mia got up and sat next to Charlie and pretended to be mysterious and said, I'm telling you, Leo Kyle is actually a playboy. He even impregnated 2 women before. Of course, this news has been blocked by the Kyle family. It's impossible to spread outside. I'm not interested in what he did before. I just want to know how to meet him. And what kind of woman is his type? Mia approached him, which made Charlie step back. He didn't want to get close to her face. Of course, men like beautiful women. Mia thought for a while and said, he will attend a charity party in 2 days. You can meet him there. Regardless of his reaction, Mia continued on. Don't always think too highly of Rovio Corporation's leader. Sometimes he is just an ordinary man. Men must have a lot of emotions and desires. However, he has higher requirements for women than ordinary people. Mia paused and continued. Pretty is one of the factors, and temperament is also very important. If you can find a woman with a good appearance and temperament and send her to him, a lot of money will come your way. If you really can't find a suitable one, then look for one that matches my appearance. If you find someone as beautiful as me, there will be no harm. Mia talked a lot, but Charlie only remembered a few key words, which were the charity dinner and a woman with good appearance and temperament. A temperamental woman. Charlie murmured these words over and over again, and a slim figure unconsciously appeared in his mind. Karen. Although Karen was not as delicate and lively as she used to be, she was still exquisite and fine, as if she had been carefully sculpted. She had the beauty of being mature. Metaphorically, it could be described that Karen had evolved from a budding flower into a blossoming flower resting proudly on a plant. Unfair. A mature and beautiful woman like Karen did not belong to him. However, she should be his. He should be hers. If it weren't for his parents' objection in the past, and if it weren't for Kevin's interference, how could he not get her? How could that be? As he was thinking, Charlie clenched his fists with a murderous look on his face. Now, he was no longer the useless teenager who had no strength and power in front of his parents, and he would not let others bully him. Karen, he must get her. If he couldn't get her, he would destroy her. Charlie let go of the tension in his hands, smiled and looked at Mia's bizarre face and asked, Are you sure that Leo Kyle will attend a charity dinner? His smile was bright, but also creepy. Mia felt sick. Leo usually smiled. His smile was full of confidence. Looking at his smile, people would be cheerful. But why did Charlie Gook's smile look so sinister? Mia felt chills in her heart. She just wanted to get away from the disgusting man as soon as possible. So she quickly replied with a smile, Since I am brave to request this large sum of money from you, then I am 100% sure. Do you think I, a little star, dare to play tricks in front of you? Mia's confidence made Charlie hesitate briefly. Recently, he did hear that the celebrities of Chatterton Town were going to hold such a charity dinner, but he did not hear that Rovio Corporation's Leo Kyle would attend. If what the little girl said was true, then he could find a way to meet Leo Kyle and find a way to work with Rovio Corporation. Now he had to find some temperamental women to please Leo Kyle. He didn't know if Duncan, that idiot, had found a suitable candidate or not. Charlie did not respond for a long time, so Mia asked impatiently, Mister, are you satisfied with this news? Charlie stared at Mia for a long time, trying to read any cues from her heavily made-up face. However, he only saw how impatient Mia was and could not read any more cues. After thinking it over and over again, he got up and said, Take your time to enjoy the meal. I'll go first. If it's done, I'll reward you even more. Mister, don't forget to pay the bill when you leave. Mia took the check and waved to Charlie, grinning from eye to eye. She looked like a little girl who loved money. After Charlie left, Mia looked so happy that she wanted to run and jump around. Leo Kyle was a typical conservative man. He was famous at a young age and an emperor of the business empire, but he lived a boring life like a monk with no desire. He only had a girlfriend 3 years ago. They had dated for about 2 months, but they hadn't met up much. In the end, the woman abandoned him because she couldn't see him frequently. Mia doubted that her stupid brother didn't know how to care about a woman, and he did not fulfill her sister-in-law's desires. Thinking of the past, Mia felt sad for Kevin again. If no woman liked him, and he did not take the initiative to pursue women, the future of Kyle's family would be a barren one. Thinking about it, she spread the rumors. She was simply worried about the continuation of the bloodline of the Kyle family. Jackie, who had been standing next to Mia for a long time, finally spoke up. He said, Polaris, if the young master knew you did this, he would drag you back to Europe. Now that Jackie reminded Mia of this, she became anxious. Jackie, how dare you to mention this? If it weren't you who spied on me, would Leo find me? Polaris, it was you who asked me to call him last time. Why did you blame me again? The thing that happened a few days ago was that Mia wanted to take advantage of Kevin's news. A few days later, she refused to admit it and put the blame on him. He felt she was very wrong. Chapter 60. Dishes have been served. Sit down and eat with me, Jackie. Mia remembered that she played the trick because she wanted to capitalize on the scandalous news with Kevin. She felt sorry for misunderstanding Jackie. The servant and the host in the Kyle family never have dinner together at a table, so Jackie didn't dare to break this rule. He stood still and said, "Miss, take your time. I'll eat later." "Nonsense. If I ask you to sit down and eat with me, you should obey me." Mia picked up the chopsticks and started to eat. She said while eating, "Besides, I ordered too much delicious food. I can't eat them all by myself. It's a waste." Jackie reminded her again, "The Kyle family motto taught us to remember our roles. If the young master sees you like this, you will have to learn etiquette again." Mia was choked up after hearing Jackie's words. The Kyle family had its own family rules, but they were not in the Kyle family now. Must she still follow the rules? She rolled her eyes and threatened, "If you continue to talk about the family rules, I will exile you." Jackie finally shut up, and Mia enjoyed her food. No matter how powerful Leo was, he could not control her for the rest of his life. By the way, there will be a lot of ladies around him. It had been a while since they signed a new project. Innovative tech was shrouded in unprecedented haze. People's minds were wavering, and they couldn't focus at work. Suni was not in the office, and the whole business department got lazy. There were not many people working hard. William was chatting on the phone. It seemed that he had a girlfriend. "I miss you so much, and love you," and so on, which made Karen get goosebumps. May and Alice sat together and browsed Twitter. They talked loudly, as if they had forgotten that it was working time. "Wow, Leo Kyle from Rovio Corporation Inc. looks so handsome, but he's too resolute. He doesn't look like a businessman, but more like a soldier. Leo Kyle is very handsome, but he's still lost to our director Kyle. However, do you think that all men with the surname Kyle are so good-looking? Leo Kyle looks honest, but this post says that he is a playboy, while director Kyle is loyal to his wife." May and Alice were bantering away as they expressed their opinions on the two men. They didn't know that Leo Kyle in the picture was not the real one at all. It was a trick played by Mia secretly. After Leo Kyle came to North Hill City, his news was released every day. Even if Karen did not pay attention to him, she had heard a lot of news about him. For example, there was a lot of news with titles such as, "A young man that is very ambitious," "A young man that was like an emperor in the business world," or "He was a womanizer." To be honest, this kind of person was superior and unreachable, and naturally had nothing to do with ordinary people like Karen. However, every time Karen saw this person's news, she would be reminded of the past. Charlie in the past had been so radiant and vigorous too. But what happened in the end? Karen felt sad as she reminisced about the past. Power, money, status, reputation. She was an ordinary person and did not ask for these things. Now she just wanted to live a quiet life with Kevin. Karen smiled subtly as she thought of Kevin. They are men. Compared with the playboy Leo Kyle, her husband Kevin was really like a saint. They had slept in the same bed for a long time, but nothing had happened. However, she could feel his desire every night. In the night, they lay on the same bed. The breathing sounds of each other were the last thing they hear as they end their day. Occasionally they touched each other, either intentionally or unintentionally. At that time, Karen could clearly hear Kevin's increasingly intense breathing and her increasingly flustered heartbeat. Karen couldn't express what she wanted. It seemed that she was looking forward to something. But she was scared. He had appeared in her life out of the blue and brought colors onto her dull life. But it was so sudden. The sudden happiness and bliss made her very uneasy. What if it is just a dream? Even if his heavy breathing could be heard, even if her accelerating heartbeat was so real, even if she could see him and feel him, she still did not believe this sudden reality. To make matters worse, the presence of Charlie kept reminding her of her past, reminding her of her childishness. Kevin. As she thought of Charlie, Karen recited Kevin's name. Kevin. A simple and short name, but always gave her great confidence when she recited his name. Buzz. Speaking of the devil, the phone on her desk suddenly vibrated. Karen was so shocked that her hands shook. She stopped ruminating on her thoughts. What was she thinking during office hours? Karen picked up her phone. It was Kevin. When she answered the phone, she heard Kevin's pleasant, sexy voice. "What are you doing?" "No, nothing." Ah, his voice was so low, yet felt so nice to hear. Although it was just a one-syllable response, yet she understood the many meanings it carried behind the response. Her heart was beating fast. Karen blushed, but she pretended to be calm and said, "What's wrong? Mrs. Kyle? It's time to eat." The man on the other side of the phone said calmly. His tone was calm, but she could sense a smile in the plain tone. He called her Mrs. Kyle. He was such a serious man, but at that time he was flirting with her on the phone. Karen let out a smile. Her clear eyes lit up, and she answered happily. "Mr. Kyle, I'll follow your order." After that, there was silence on the other side of the phone. Karen suddenly panicked and thought she had said something wrong. Just as she was about to explain, the deep voice came from the phone again. Shall we go together? He said that gently and courteously, which was something that Karen had never experienced before. He was waiting for her answer. He hoped that she would agree. Karen paused. She had the urge to just run up to him regardless of what others would think. She wanted to announce loudly that she was his wife, Mrs. Kyle.